Brethren of the Grand Lodge, you see before you the officers chosen for this ensuing Masonic year. If any member knows a just reason why any of them should not be installed, let him now make it known. Good, hearing nothing. We are happy to observe that you still approve the choice made, and we will now proceed to install them. As we are now upon the threshold of a great and important undertaking, Masonic teachings require that we should bow in solemn prayer with our very reverend Grand Chaplain.
Great Architect of the universe, we come before your throne, the Grand Lodge of Arizona, at this time. We beseech you to govern this Grand Lodge with the incoming officers, although in a time of illness and chaos. We wish the best for all of our brethren. The Grand Lodge of Arizona has proceeded many times. This is not the first time we have had troubles in the Grand Lodge. We beseech you to endow the officers here to be installed with the wisdom, the honor, and the character to carry on the workings of this Grand Lodge and the brethren of our state with your humble and extreme pride in the fact that as brothers, as we come together, let us all remember the lessons taught to us at the altar on which we all were obligated. And now may we thank thee and bless thee. Amen.
Gavel them down, Mike.
Okay. Most worshipful Brother Grand Marshal, you will present the Grand Stewards for installation.
Brothers, if you will stand on each side of the altar, just right there. That's good. Most worshipful Grand Master, I have the pleasure to present to you Roger Beatty III and Brother Eric Dupree, who have been appointed the Grand Stewards of this Grand Lodge for the ensuing year.
Thank you, sir. Worshipful brethren, you have been appointed Grand Stewards of this Grand Lodge, and we now invest you with the jewels of your office.
We'll do them together. Go ahead. Congratulations. Drive on.
And place in your hands the rods as ensigns of your station. It is your duty to provide for the comfort and convenience of the members of the Grand Lodge when in session and to assist the Grand Deacons and other officers of the Grand Lodge in the performance of their duties. We feel confident I'm not so confident that I can turn this page. We feel confident that your regard for your brethren will incite you to prompt discharge of this trust. You may now be seated.
Brother, you follow me.
Most worshipful Grand Marshal, you will now present the Grand Deacons.
If you would please step to the altar, Brother Lee. Most worshipful Grand Master, I have the pleasure to present to you Brother Lee Creighton, who has been appointed Senior Grand Deacon of this Grand Lodge, or Junior Grand Deacon for the ensuing year.
You have been appointed the Senior Grand Deacon of this Grand Lodge, and we now invest you with the jewel of your office. And the rod as an ensign of your authority. It is your duty to attend upon the Grand Master and Grand Wardens and act as their proxy in the active duties of the Grand Lodge. Let vigilance and attention move you to the discharge of the functions of your office. You may now be seated. Most worshipful Grand Marshal, you will now present the Grand Secretary-elect.
Brother Worshipful George, congratulations. Step up to the altar if you would please, sir. Most worshipful Grand Master, I have the pleasure to present to you Brother George Mather, who has been elected Grand Secretary for the first time to serve the craft for the ensuing year.
Very well. Brother George, you have been elected to the very important office of Grand Secretary, and I now invest you with the jewel of your office. It is your duty to observe all the proceedings of the Grand Lodge and to make a fair recording of all things proper to be written. You are also the official correspondent of the Grand Lodge, and in that capacity, you will conduct correspondence and act as the medium of communication between the fraternity and our Grand Master. In the discharge of these extensive duties, let your carriage and behavior be marked by that promptness and discretion that will at once reflect credit on yourself and honor on the body whom you represent. Most Worshipful Grand Marshal, you will now present the Grand Treasurer-elect.
If you come up to the altar, please, Piper. Most Worshipful Grand Master, I have the pleasure to present to you Brother Michael McGee, who has once again succumbed to his better thinking and has decided to run for election, and he has been duly elected as the Grand Treasurer of the Grand Lodge of Arizona for the ensuing year.
Excellent. Perhaps we should call you Grand Treasurer in perpetuity? Nope? No. All right. You have been elected to the very responsible office of Grand Treasurer, and I am happy to have the privilege of investing you with the jewel of your office. It is your duty to receive all monies due the Grand Lodge, to make due entries of the same, and pay them out by order of the Grand Master and with the consent of the Grand Lodge. The office you now hold embraces an important trust, and the choice of your brethren is evident of the high opinion they entertain of your fidelity and discretion. We do not doubt that your regard for the fraternity will prompt you to the faithful discharge of your duties. You may now be seated. Most Worshipful Grand Marshal, you will now present the Junior Grand Warden-elect.
Brother George, if you would attend at the altar. Most Worshipful Grand Master, I have the pleasure to present to you Brother George Rusk, who has been elected the Junior Grand Warden of the Grand Lodge of Arizona for the ensuing year.
Brother George, your brethren have shown their confidence in your fidelity by electing you their Junior Grand Warden. It affords me much pleasure to invest you with the jewel of your office. Your regular attendance at the communications of the Grand Lodge is earnestly requested. In the absence of your superior officers, you are to govern the craft. In their presence, you will aid them in their labors. Your past devotion to the duties of Freemasonry is a sufficient guarantee that you will faithfully execute the duties which are incumbent on you. And as a vigilant warden, you will look well to the south. Most worshipful Grand Marshal, you will now present the Senior Grand Warden-elect.
Up your ass and on your step up to the altar. You're welcome. Most worshipful Grand Master, I have the pleasure to present to you Brother Jim Baker, who has been elected Senior Grand Warden of the Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of Arizona for the ensuing year.
Brother Jim, by the suffrages of the members of this Grand Lodge, you have been elected Senior Grand Warden, and we now invest you with the jewel of your office. Your regular attendance at the communications of this Grand Lodge are essentially necessary. In the absence of the Grand Master and his deputy, you are to govern the craft. In their presence, you are to strengthen and support the authority of your chief. The brethren firmly rely on your knowledge of Masonry and your accomplishment and attachment to our institution for the discharge of the duties of this important trust. Look well to the west.
You will follow me right where you go. Congratulations, Jim.
Most worshipful Grand Marshal, you will now present the Deputy Grand Master-elect.
If you would, please, Randy. Most worshipful Grand Master, I have the pleasure to present to you Brother Randy Jagger, who has been elected the Deputy Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of Arizona for the ensuing year.
Right worshipful brother, the office to which you have been elected is one of high dignity and may become one of great importance, for in the absence of the Grand Master from the communications of the Grand Lodge or from the limits of this jurisdiction, you are by law invested with his powers. In view of such emergencies, allow us to remind you of the duty entrusted on you to be thoroughly prepared to fill his distinguished position with honor to yourself and profit to the craft. I now, with much pleasure, invest you with the jewel of your office. And congratulate you upon assuming your seat upon the right of the Grand Master in the Grand East.
Please, sir.
Most worshipful Grand Marshal, you will now present the Grand Master-elect.
Big guy, the moment is upon you. If you would. Most worshipful Grand Master, I have the honor and pleasure to present to you Brother Boyd Robertson, who has been duly elected by his brethren to serve this Grand Lodge as the most worshipful Grand Master, free and accepted of Masons for the ensuing year.
Most worshipful brother, we most cordially congratulate you upon your election to this, the most distinguished and important office within the gift of Masonry. The confidence displayed by the members of this Grand Lodge in electing you to supreme command is an ample guarantee to the Masonic world of your wisdom and your worth. You cannot, my brother, but be aware of the deep and solemn importance of the station you are now about to assume, nor of the many cares and perplexities which attend its unequaled honors. These perplexities, however, will be greatly diminished by the tender sympathy and active assistance of your brethren, who have full confidence that you will discharge the important duties of your station with credit to yourself and honor to the fraternity. I will now administer you the obligation pertaining to your office.
Put your hands on the Bible.
Do you solemnly promise in the presence of Almighty God and of this Grand Lodge of free and accepted Masons that you will, to the best of your ability, faithfully and impartially perform all the duties incumbent on your office, that you will conform to the Constitution, laws, rules, and regulations of this most worshipful Grand Lodge, and that you will enforce a strict obedience to the same from all subject to your authority? Let me congratulate you, most worshipful Boyd, on the honor of being raised from the level of equality to the high station of presiding over all lodges of this Masonic jurisdiction. We look up with confidence to a brother whose person is endeared to us by that love of the fraternity which is sanctified at the expense of many years. May the Father of light, of love, and life invest you with his choicest gifts. May heavenly wisdom brighten your mind. May heavenly power give you strength to your endeavor. May your feet rest upon the rock of justice, and late, very late in life, may you be transmitted from the fading honors of an earthly lodge to the mansions prepared by the faithful in another and better world. At this time, in a normal situation, the new Grand Master would turn and face his brethren, but frankly, if you stay facing this way, you are facing the brethren. So we will dispense with that. Okay? Let me congratulate you, the Grand Officers, and other brethren on the election of our Grand Master. As it is his duty to command, according to our Constitution, it is ours with readiness to obey. Look to the sun and behold the planetary worlds revolving round him in continual order and harmony with the happiest effect, and learn to imitate their regularity in the hope of obtaining from the chair of Solomon the light of wisdom and the warmth of love. Of them let us learn to rise in our affection to the great Father of all, and thence descending, expand the heart from brother to brother and to all mankind. Of them let us learn never to be weary in well-doing, but to mourn with them that mourn, and to rejoice with them that do rejoice, until having finished our work on earth, we shall be admitted to the temple above, not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. I now, most worshipful brother, have the honor to present you with the gavel and emblem of your Masonic authority. And welcome you to the East.
Will you follow me, please, most worshipful?
And I take great pleasure in being the very first to congratulate you and welcome you to the Grand East as Grand Master.
Thank you, most worshipful.
I now hail, salute, and proclaim you Grand Master of Masons in Arizona. Brethren of Arizona, behold your Grand Master. Most worshipful, behold your brethren. Worshipful Grand Marshal, I now declare the several officers of the Grand Lodge of Arizona installed into office for the ensuing year in ample form. Brother Grand Marshal, the proclamation of their installation will be the last order of business of this annual communication. At that time, you will proclaim the same to the brethren, that they, having due notice thereof, may govern themselves accordingly. And now, all in attendance, join me in giving to our new Grand Master honors of 3 times 3. And a hearty round of applause.
Hey, right.
That's okay. I'll blame Jeff. It's his. Thank you all, brothers.
Most Worshipful Brother Greg, do you want me to read my officers at this time, or do you want to do it later? Okay. All right, those of you that are here obviously know who the installed officers were today, but I would like to run down the rest of my officers and the DDGMs and DDGLs real quick. Our Worshipful Grand Lecturer, Cal Magnus. Very Reverend Grand Chaplain, Jim Gear. Worshipful Grand Orator, David Sahady. Worshipful Grand Marshal, Michael Gotti. Worshipful Grand Standard Bearer, Reed Hogue. Worshipful Grand Sword Bearer, Greg Cavell. Worshipful Grand Bible Bearer, Kenny Lewis. Reiterate once again because he was not here. Worshipful Senior Grand Deacon, Mike Dale. Our Worshipful Grand Pursuivant, Tim Lindquist. Worshipful Grand Organist, obviously Gordon Stevenson once again because he's amazing. Worshipful Grand Tyler, Keith McCormick. And our Worshipful Grand Editor is Brian Howe. DDGMs, I'm going to do them in order. I'm not going to read off their number just to save time. Bob Weed, John Welsh, Lance Brown, Clay Howard, Lon Thomas, Michael White, Tony Goodoy, Robin Settlemeyer, James Z., Brian Hanna, Dwayne Brown, Nick Lindquist, John Schmidt, Tom Murray, Tom Schaff, Lyle Adams, Harold Lindemood, Gary Horn, Amet Edemir, Bill Carnell, Mark Symington, Dwayne Hoyt, Jason Stryker. And the 3 DDGLs that we have right now, we're looking to find 2 more, are for D1, John Graham, for D2, Jeff Cummings, and for D4, Ron Allen, because he would never call me back. Brothers, in closing, so we can get this wrapped up, I would just like to say a few brief words. First and foremost, thank you very much to my installing team. Unfortunately, your gifts are apparently still quarantined, along with my ties. They have not been received yet either. Apparently, stuff in Michigan and the Midwest is completely shut down for some strange reason. Don't understand why. But so as soon as I get those, I will be delivering them to you personally. Thank you very much for doing the installation for me today. You guys know why I called on you. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail, but you guys are very much the biggest reasons why I stand here today. You're the ones that encouraged me and pushed me into being active in the Grand Lodge. Most Worshipful Mike, you actually appointed me your year as your junior Grand Steward, so thank you for that. Brothers, first, I want to thank you all for this high honor. I am truly humbled, and this journey has been one of the richest experiences of my life. I do my very best to work with all of you to move Masonry forward within Arizona. We must always remember as we strive to improve ourselves that we must help each other to improve as well. The history of this brotherhood shows that together we can work through anything, and in the process help to improve our communities. Right now, with the trials that we are all facing, we must come together and work to improve not only ourselves, but this amazing country that we call home. This current pandemic has shown us what is important to each of us individually, and now we must strive to share and improve what we already are as brothers of this fraternity. This is going to be a challenge with the current restrictions and health concerns that we all have, but we are all here to work, and I want to continue to work. Share with me and the rest of your brothers how you're going to move forward from where we stand today. The theme that I picked for this year is brothers being brothers. Today, this seems to be much more important than when I started developing this concept last fall. Society today seems to be on pins and needles. We need to show the world how we act as brothers and possibly lead the way to healing the pain and frustrations that we see right now. We are all created equal and in the image of God. We need to remember that and share it. In the last issue of Arizona Masonry, I shared the synopsis of the presentation that I gave at the Western States Conference on brothers being brothers. This is where the concept started, and it has continued to grow. Stay tuned for additional thoughts on how we can use this concept today. I'd like to thank the Grand Lodge officers for all of their hard work and support in moving Masonry forward in Arizona. And I hope all of you will join us in working to grow and improve Masonry in our own small ways. Most worshipful Brother Greg, you had a huge challenge this year. I commend you on how you handled yourself and helped move Masonry forward in Arizona. Once again, I'd like to thank most worshipful brothers Mike Manning, most worshipful Jeff Carlton, and most worshipful Tom Brooker for the installation team today. You guys all know how much you mean to me, and I thank you. In closing, I'd also like to thank all of the brothers of Arizona who have helped and taught me how to be a better man. And last but not certainly least, I have to thank my wonderful wife, Judy. Without her unending support, I would not be standing here today. Thank you. Randy? Brother Bill, did you have something you would like to say? Yes, closing prayer, please.
Supreme Grand Master, ruler of heaven and earth, now that we are about to separate and return to our respective places of abode, will there be please